Welcome back to the George and Victoria podcast. In today's episode, titled The God Who Guides Our Steps, we're diving into a fascinating story from the book of Ruth, chapter 2, verses 1 to 7. Today, we'll uncover how divine providence can guide even our everyday choices. Isn't that interesting, Victoria?
Absolutely, George. The concept itself is both profound and comforting. It reminds us that even in seemingly mundane or ordinary moments, there's a greater plan at work. It's like that feeling when you find a forgotten $20 bill in an old coat. It's not chance, it's a little miracle.
Exactly. And speaking of miracles and simple things, let's start by introducing our main characters. In verse 1, we meet Boaz, a man of standing and influence. Now let's break that down a bit for our listeners. What does man of standing really mean?
A man of standing essentially means he's someone respected in his community, likely wealthy and influential. He's not just a guy with a big wallet, he's someone people regard with reverence and trust. This kind of character can really shape events, wouldn't you say?
For sure. And it's significant because this shows us that God was already preparing a provision for Ruth and Naomi before they even realized it. Ruth, as we know, is a Moabite woman, an outsider in an Israelite context, but her story is remarkable. It's a reminder that where you come from doesn't dictate your worth or your path.
I love that about her story. Ruth embodies humility and initiative, as seen in verse 2, where she asks permission to glean in the fields. Gleaning is the practice of collecting leftover crops in the fields after the harvest. Essentially, she's seeking out what others have missed. It reflects her diligence and responsibility.
Right. She doesn't just sit idle and wait for help. She steps out in faith. It's a proactive approach. How many times have we all felt stuck, waiting for something to happen? Ruth's actions challenge us to take initiative, even when life feels daunting.
Exactly. And verse 3 hints at something truly divine. It says that Ruth happened to glean in Boaz's field. Now, dear listeners, isn't it fascinating how the word happened hints at chance? But spiritually, this is divine providence at work.
It is. Divine providence is the idea that God is actively involved in the guidance and care of the world. Ruth's decision led her to exactly the right field, the field of someone who would ultimately play a critical role in her life. Just shows how our seemingly small decisions can lead to monumental changes.
True. And this is where Boaz enters the stage. In verse 4, we see him greet his workers with a blessing. "The Lord be with you." This simple phrase reveals a lot about his character. He leads with kindness, a sharp contrast to how many leaders act today.
Boaz certainly sets a tone of respect and shared faith, which is refreshing. When you think about it, good leadership fosters an environment where people can flourish, right? By blessing his workers, he's nurturing their morale. And it's that kind of environment that allows providence to flourish.
Absolutely. And then we see Boaz noticing Ruth from the crowd. In verse 5, he inquires about her. This moment serves as a pivotal point. He's intrigued by her and her work ethic. Here's the part I find exciting. God causes her to be seen at just the right time by the right person.
Yes, so often we worry about being overlooked or unnoticed, but Ruth's story reminds us that the right people will see our efforts at the right time, especially when we act with integrity and commitment. It's such a comforting thought.
And this is beautifully illustrated in verses 6 and 7, where the foreman explains Ruth's background, a Moabite woman, hardworking and perseverant. Her reputation has preceded her, showcasing her dedication. Isn't it inspiring that her character was recognized before she even entered this pivotal moment?
It is indeed inspiring. And this leads us to our thematic takeaway for today, the idea of divine providence in everyday choices. Ruth's seemingly simple decision to glean transforms her entire destiny. God is ordering our steps, weaving purpose even in what feels like small and ordinary decisions.
As we wrap up, let's reflect on how character truly matters. Ruth's humility and diligence positioned her for divine favor, while Boaz's godly leadership allowed for providence to unfold naturally. This speaks volumes, doesn't it?
It really does, Victoria. It encourages us to engage in our lives fully, recognizing that every decision, big or small, can lead us down paths we never imagined. So to our listeners, we invite you to explore your own steps and see how perhaps they too might be guided towards something greater.
It's about trust, hope, and that quiet assurance that we're not alone in our journey. Thank you for joining us today on this journey through the book of Ruth. We hope you feel inspired to embrace every step you take.
And we look forward to sharing more insightful stories with you in our next episode. Until then, take care and remember to lean into those everyday choices that can lead to extraordinary outcomes.